Welcome back to It's Tool Thing. Today with an update video on my tool tote and a small tool haul pertaining particularly to the tool tote itself. Let's jump into the tool haul first off. So originally I just purchased one more of these VIM mag rail, 12-inch long. This one was blue, if I remember correctly. Yeah, blue. I didn't really care what color. This was one that came with 1/2-inch pegs. Unfortunately, made in China for VIM tools. I really do like these holders, but for the price point, I would expect at minimum they'd be made in the USA. As you can see here, I don't know if it's coming up clear on the video or not, but this thing's all dusty. So it's been sitting on some shelf somewhere for quite some time. Picked it up off eBay for like 30 bucks. And then I ended up deciding I wanted to go ahead and get a second one. When I went back, that supplier didn't have any more. So I bought this one, which I thought was interesting. This one's a red one. And I don't know if this is a new way they're selling them. I know they're selling them without the pins sometimes. But it came in this one, same mag rail, 12 inches long. But it's red and it had no pins installed. It did come with pins. It came with one of these lifters, which unless you're pulling this thing off all the time, I'm not sure why you would waste a spot for that. They are difficult to get off of a metal surface directly, but I think you can work it off. I've always worked it off without having one. And then it came with 10 of the 1/2-inch pins, 10 of the 3/8 pins, and 10 of the 1/4 pins. I used all the 3/8 pins. I actually used them on some leftover pieces that I had for my snap-on long ball end Allens. I knew they would fit in the top drawer vertical, but just barely with the mag rails. They wouldn't actually fit with the standard Craftsman plastic style socket holders. It was just a hair too tall, so I knew they'd work. I had some pieces left over because, of course, the first thing you do when you spend back to this one for 1 second. So this one I think was $32 off of eBay, but you got all the extra pins, so actually that was a pretty good deal as far as slight increase in price, but getting 10 of each pin. If you guys aren't familiar, this is the VIM mag rail here. They've got the magnets staked in here, and it does provide magnet to the bottom as well as to the top. So it kind of holds it to the box and to the socket. Here's the little leftover piece from the blue one that I'm cutting down. And these are the pins. These are the 1/2-inch pins. These are the 3/8 pins. The big advantage with these is first off the height off the deck. I think it's roughly 1/4 inch in thickness, which is valuable sometimes because if you really, like I said, those long ball Allens, they barely fit in that drawer. It had less than 1/4 inch from the top. So if you used any other kind of holder, they were going to hit. So that's one big advantage. And the other big advantage is that you can adjust these pins and to where you want them and then snug them down. And for the most part, they don't come loose. Every now and again, I've had one come loose, but not very often. But they keep their spacing. If you can see here, I'm kind of pulling on it. And that's one of the problems I have with the regular holders. Let me see if I have one right down here. I'm not sure if I have one in here. I think I do. Yeah. Grab one of these out. There's several manufacturers of these. These are old Craftsman ones, and they work fine, but they slide around a little too much sometimes, and you'll have one where you pull it out, let's say, and then either this thing shifts over to the side, and then you can't get the socket back in. Help if I put it in frame. I slid that thing over, and now the socket won't fit, so then you got to get in there and get it moved back over. And that's one of the big advantages with those the mag rails is that they'll lock into where you want. And as you can see here, see if I can show a height difference. Dramatically shorter. As you can see, the actual rail itself is probably comparably high, but you can see how the pins stick up quite a bit higher and the socket doesn't go all the way down. So that was really, I think, the only new purchase I got. Like I said, I wish the prices would get better. I wish somebody would come out with a system that was like this, but maybe at half the price or somewhere in there, $15 to $20 instead of $30 for this size. They get more expensive. They sell them up to, I think they do 8, 10, or excuse me, 8, 12, 16, and 20, I think are the lengths they do. That's a quick overview of the mag rails. I wish they would, like I said, come out with a way to make them a little more inexpensive, or at least make them in the U.S. Make me feel a little better about spending my dollar with them. So we'll get on to the tool tote here. This is the tool tote in the shop truck. I literally just took it off the shelf where it sits, and I'll pull this off the stand here. As you can see, my fancy stand. So the first modification that I've done is I added these rings here on the end. I was thinking about using just a regular nut and bolt sticking through there, but I actually put these lifting eyes in there. And my reasoning for doing that is when I was grabbing it out of where I store it at, you can't have the handle up, and this way it gives me a little more purchase. I was actually grabbing the little nub and the thing there, and it would be okay, but it was easier to do this so I get it out of where it's stored and then lift the handle up. I've been pretty happy with these so far. I got them tightened down with some Loctite on them, and I've been running this thing for probably a month with those on there or better, and they actually don't move, which I was surprised at. I expected them to move, and then that's the reason I was thinking about using a bolt with a long nut on there. But I've been using this thing, and they've actually been pretty consistent staying there. Of course, I got one on the other side. So we'll go over what's in the tote and its current organization here. Let's go ahead and start on the outside here. We have the long, or standard length as I consider it. It's technically a long flex head sitting on magnets, and they do stay there pretty well. And then got the extra long snap-on ratchet, and it actually stays there pretty well, even though I don't know if you'd be able to see this very well, but it has a hard time touching the magnet right here because of the handle. The ones without the comfort grip actually work a little better. That's what I have in the shop truck, or excuse me, in the shop. But I decided to put the handled ones out here in the shop truck just because, well, that's what I found used, and the handle's kind of nice when it's cold out. That way you don't have to maybe glove up as much. Next thing here is I've got the complete set. I actually have two sets of these, one in the shop, one in the shop truck, of these ball end impact wobblies from VIM, or excuse me, not VIM, Sunex. And I've been very happy with them. I got them off of eBay also for a pretty reasonable price. Don't remember exactly what it was, but I've been beating them up for months now, and I've had no failures whatsoever. I've got the complete set. It's a 4-piece set. Got a snap-on with a lock ring down here, and that neck size down of the Sunex wobbly. See if we can get this moved around a little bit. Hanging on the side here, we have one of the channel lock extra wide jaws that goes up to, I think, 1.5 inches, 1 5/8, and it's pretty slim. Got that there. On the back side, and I can see right now it's actually on upside down. Slide this right here. It's actually supposed to be sitting this way, but I just reached over the back and threw it on there last time I used it earlier today. Got a pair of side cutters, and then I have my 12-inch crescent wrench. This actual Crescent brand does 1.5 inch, hanging there on those pins, all magnetic. It's been working really well, holding this stuff on. Slides right in there and slides into here, and they don't fall off. I can drag this thing around all over the place. And then one more side here, and then we'll get into the middle. On this side is a, excuse me, got my fingers in the way there for a second. And these things do stay on there pretty good. Standard crescent wrench, 8-inch, Napa, USA made. Decent crescent wrench. I actually like the Snap-on one a little bit better, but that's what I got for out here in the field. It works fine. Of course, this carry tote's the same one, or one of the two that I modified. This handle used to be this. This is actually the piece I cut from here, and I just extended that rod, and it's the actual piece. There's nothing missing, so you can see how much I added. But I do like this one better than the one in the shop, but it doesn't fit into my toolbox because it stays above the plane here, and that allows me better access. So we'll go ahead and go through what's in the tool bin here. Of course, you got your can of brake clean, non-lint rags. Use those quite a bit. I have regular rags, and I've been trying to use them a little more than I used to, because those are getting harder to get and they're a little more expensive than the cleaned red rags. But when I'm getting into somewhere where I'm concerned about lint, I'm definitely going to one of those. And we got a couple of these. I like to use this torque seal stuff on critical fasteners. Actually, I pretty much use them on the majority of the fasteners. I don't do every fastener, but a lot of them. If I torque it, I stick a dab on it, which is 95% of what I do. I don't like to not torque stuff a lot. Some of this is just going to be an overview. So I got my Snap-on little mini screwdriver pry bar seal pick thingy. As you can see, I've used this a lot. It's still got the hook or the clip on this one. It's not coming in very clear, but it's there it goes, kind of. It's pretty blunt at this point. It actually works really good for seals. And then for the impact wobblies, this holder down here, the green one, I have two of them, one on the other side and one on this side. They're Mechanics Time Saver. They're pretty decent. I do like the quality. They work fine. They magnetic down to the bottom so they don't shift around, which is good. See if I can slide this in there. A lot of room to work here. Kind of got a mixed bag of sockets. This one here is a 1-inch, but it's a 3/8 drive impact wobbly. This is a Matco AVD socket. Like I said, there are a mix of sockets in here. I'm not going to go through every single socket, but I got the 1-inch. Yeah, I don't have a 1-inch in the toolbox in the shop. That's why I was double checking to make sure I was being accurate. And those don't fit. Well, you can see that very well. They don't fit in the holder particularly great. They sit up a little high. But they do fit in there. They don't just fall out or anything, so it's not a big deal. Whereas some of these other ones actually fit down like they're supposed to. This one here is a... I don't even see. Oh, there it is up the top. This is a Matco also, but it's one of their higher quality ones. And it's got this tapered cut on it, which I really do like. And I like not having the ring. I like the welded pin. That's my preferred style. Though I generally like the Snap-on impact wobblies. And then this set goes down to, I believe that's 3/8. Yeah, 3/8. And then I keep this is a magnetic adapter and a universal. You're actually supposed to put an extension in that spot, but that gives me 2 items there. This is one of the mag rails that I added to this box, or this tool tote. Got his Craftsman 6-inch extension in here. And this is what I like so much about these mag rails, is they do a pretty good job, if I can see what I'm doing, of holding the thing in there. They don't fall over. These two I actually just added when I did this upgrade. 18 millimeter 1/2 inch drive. This one's a Matco AVD also, I believe. And then this one here, it's a Craftsman 3/4. I added these to this set. They weren't in here before. And then I have a impact wobbly adapter with a 3/8 drive, 12 point for drive lines. A snap-on magnetic socket 13 and 15 here, which are the common two for Allison transmissions. Excuse me, I got a cough. Pardon me. And this tool here, I'm actually surprised I don't get more use out of. It does come in handy, but I just don't get as much use out of it as I think I would. It's a Mac, but it's 1/2 inch drive on the anvil side, and then 3/8 drive for the socket. I'm surprised I don't use it more. I have one in each bin. The next thing here is a impact wobbly with a 1/2 inch 12 point on it. I just keep it there all the time. Another Mac with I think it's a Matco socket. And then this one here, it's a snap-on adapted extension. It's got 1/2 inch drive on this side, 3/8 on this side, with the skinnier 3/8 shank, which sometimes is handy. And then the other items in the middle of the bin here, I got this snap-on Rover, snap-on Milwaukee Rover, the one I just picked up. I pulled out that other larger light, and I'm just running this. It's been working out pretty well so far. I do like these Rovers. They work pretty good. They're compact enough. They got a magnet on them. An air nozzle, non-DOT approved or whatever, with the rubber tip. Don't let nobody see this. Use this for pressure checking clutches, blowing stuff off on occasion, but usually it's just pressure checking clutches is what I end up doing with it. Always got to have a paint pen to mark something. Got the Milwaukee headlamp. I've got quite a few. I think I got 5 of them at this point. 3 of them in the shop truck. They're working pretty good, but I've been noticing some battery issues, and I got one of them that the light's flickering on the, I usually use the center light, so I've been using the outer two, and I'm not particularly happy with that, but they are getting older. They're probably out of warranty, I would bet. At least the ones I bought new, because I did buy 2 of them new. Have my bin handle snap-on ratchet. I've been contemplating taking this out. I still like having it in there. It's just a little bit of a space hog. Flex head. I do like having a second ratchet though, so I probably won't take it out of the bin. And then just a cheap Craftsman screwdriver I use for light prying application. And then another one of these, this is the long, I think 12-inch snap-on 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapted impact, non-impact, extension. But this skinnier shank once does come in handy also. Probably not a thing that I have to have in here, because I can't say I use it that often, but I do use it on occasion. The reason I actually have it in this bin is the theory is to pretty much run just 3/8 sockets and make that work. Like I said, I have added these couple of 1/2 inch ones. I've always had this 1/2 inch one. And then I've got the, let's see here, I think that's everything out of the middle. Looks like it. I got Hansen trays, metric on this side, standard on this side. I have been having some slippage issues when I unload it out of its storage area, where they slide around a little bit. Thinking about maybe either double side taping them down or possibly putting magnets on them, but I'm not sure that's worth doing because they don't, it's not like they slide out of the way that much. The stuff in the middle kind of keeps it from going too far out, and they don't fall over. So at this point, I'm just going to run it, keep running it, see how I go. Because if I stick them down, every now and again, I got to take this thing apart and clean it. So that's going to be a problem. And if I stick it with magnets, I'm not sure if the magnets will have a problem with the oil getting on them, with the double-sided tape holding it onto the plastic. As you can see, these holders, I cleaned this bin out, but I didn't clean the actual holders, and they're pretty grody. I don't tend to micromanage my sockets. So these are the standard Hansen trays, except for I put the deep wells on the shorter pegs there, and put them outboard, and then I double up. Grab one out here. I double up the socket so I can get an extra set of sockets in there as a backup socket, or maybe I actually need a 12 point because the ones on the bottom are all 12 point impacts. Well, they're all 12 points. Some of them are impacts, some of them are not. They're kind of a mismatched set. As you can see there, I stick a razor blade. I'm amazed that I never cut myself with this thing. This one doesn't even have a blade in it. That's not cool. I wonder where that blade went. This is the old flip locks. I actually really like these, but I haven't been able to find them anymore. They've got the actual lock sticks through them, so they don't come. The blade doesn't fall out as easy. These work okay, but the blade comes out easier. I'm not even sure where that blade is. I'll have to look down there, see if it's in there. I don't remember throwing it away because I run those blades pretty bad condition. This set goes up to 19 millimeter, and this one's got a 1/2 inch adapter on it. This is actually a pinned one, so without two hands I can't even get it off. You can see the pin down there in the hole. I just leave it there, so it's kind of a backup. I don't tend to use 19 millimeter, so I just stick it on there. In case I need one or break one, I have another one handy. Don't have to get out from underneath the truck. Not that I break them as often as I used to. These are all Mac. These are the extra deep, technically, down here. They call them extra deeps because they shorten them down. I think around 13 millimeter or something. They shorten them down slightly for their deeps, and they're more like the semi-deeps. I do have some of those, but not here currently. And then on this side, I'm still missing my 1 inch, which I haven't purchased one. I'm not sure how I don't have an extra impact one. This one here is not even an impact, but it's 7/8. I haven't bothered to even look for one yet. When I see one used, I'll snag it. This is just a Craftsman, mostly just a placeholder. 7/8 isn't a real common size, so I haven't bothered. Again, I'm doing the double stacked. As you can see, these things are nice and clean. Pardon the dirt. 12 point on the bottom, 6 point impacts on the top. This set over here is a set of snap-ons, shallows. The set that was over here is a set of SKs. SKs got pretty decent quality. My issue is I have a hard time getting them warranted, so if I buy SK, you got to buy it at a good price because you got to assume you're not going to get it warranted. You might be able to contact the manufacturer. You're certainly not going to walk into a store and do it. Not around here. These here are Mac deep well, and I think some of these smaller ones are actually SK too. Yeah. Just kind of a mixed bag. That right there is not supposed to be there. That's actually a centerpiece out of a plug that I replaced. It must have just fallen in there. So move it over to the other side here. This is the red one that's new. That's another thing I wanted to point out I thought was a little interesting. Get off topic for 1 second here. The darker one is actually the older one, and I bought two of them and they were both dark, and this newer one is a slightly different color of red. Now it's anodized. I'm not sure why it's a different color. It doesn't really matter to me, but I had noticed that. Thought it was interesting. Get back on topic here. Have a 1/2 inch extension here. It's a right tool, like 6 inch or so. And then a 3/8 1/2 inch extension. Mostly this is here for carrier bearings. That's why I have these, and then those 2 other sockets. 1/2 inch drive on the other side, because like I said, 95% of this is 3/8 drive. I like having this one. I'd like to get a fancier one, but it's got a pretty stiff detent ball, so when I'm doing flex plate bolts, I'm not too concerned about the socket coming off, which can be a problem, obviously, if you lose it into the bell housing. This is just a cheap Craftsman, but the ball's pretty sturdy on it. I do wish it had some knurling, because when your hands are dirty, it'd be nice to have some aggressive knurl on it. Should keep my eye out for chrome. I used to use it for that. I don't use it on an impact gun. I try not to use non-impact extensions on impacts. Can't say I always win. This is a snap-on. This is my primary snap-on 1/2 inch adapter. Again, trying to minimize the socket choices. And then another 3/8 with no socket on it, so it's quick to grab. I have a full set of sockets, but every now and again you need 2, or you need one that's a deep well or something. And then we've got a adapter here from 1/2 inch drive to 3/8 drive proto with an actual pin so it locks in. You can see that there. And this extension, I like having it because it's an impact, but I can't stand this one because it's got another one of those lock rings that does not hold a socket worth a darn. I actually like the Mako ones that I have. They're actual impact rated extensions, but they have the ball detent. But they're in the shop, so I just make do with what I got here. Snap-on 1/2 inch drive, 12 point. Use it for drive lines. And then here's the third of the, I think it's like a 5 inch if I remember right, Sun X wobbly impact extension. And then here's my small one, that's like the 3 inch or so, Sun X wobbly impact extension. I use this one all the time. Like I said, it's been holding up really good. I hold these things and that screwdriver on the other side with little plastic D P-clamps. Work pretty good. Keep it a quick access. That's the one I use quite a bit, so I like having that one. Really easy to grab. And then I have one of my main tools here, I use quite a bit, the 1/4 ratchet with a 3/8 drive in it. This one's new to this box, or this tool tote. It was the one I was using in the shop, but I just converted a locking one over to 3/8, so I've been using that one in the shop. I gotta say I've been less than happy with that locking one though, so I don't know. I may end up switching it into a non-locking one. It's just locked up a few times already on me when I didn't want it to, which is fairly annoying, so I don't know. If you can keep them tight where they don't flop around, it works out pretty good, but if you can't, then the locking one is nice. And then another one of these Mechanics Time Saver trays. Back in this one, where another extension's supposed to be, is a complete set of adapters. Again, this is a 1/2 inch to 3/8 drive, but technically this one's actually an impact rated extension. It actually comes in the Mac extension kit. It does have the lock ring, which is fairly annoying, but it's like another backup. And then a complete set of adapters. This one here is 1/2 inch to 3/8. This one here is 3/8 to 1/4, and this one here is 1/4 to 3/8. And then this one's actually a small 3/8 extension, like a 1 inch or 1.5 inch Mac one. And I put all those staged right there, so if I need one, quick at hand. And then this set over here is my metric impact wobblies. The large one here is a 22 millimeter, which isn't something I normally use. And then it goes down to 19. These are the old ring style. Like I said, I prefer the ones with a welded pin and not the ring, but beggars can't be choosers when you find used tools for a good price. I make them work. I think all of these are snap-on except for the smallest one, which I think technically even standard. But it's I think it's a 5/16 if I remember right. Yeah, so it's 8mm basically. And this is one of the Matco AVDs. Another socket I don't use a whole bunch. 10mm is about as low as I'd normally go. So that's a quick overview. Like I said, you got the new holder here, the new VIM mag rail. Been really happy with that upgrade. If you're familiar with my other one, which isn't handy, I actually modified the other tool tote and was considering doing the same thing to this one, but I decided not to. And what I did was I cut the Hansen rail down here and here on both of them. I think I went to 7mm on the low side and then cut off the 20mm, which I never have understood why they stop at 20. That's one of the things. I really like the Hansen rails, though they do break, but they're not that expensive and they do last pretty well. I don't know if you can see here, but this one's actually somewhat broken, this pin, but it's not a size I normally use anyways. But I've never understood why they stop at 20mm. They don't go up to at least 21. I would prefer 24 to be honest, because that's pretty common for like the snap-on sockets. Granted, it would cause a problem in here. But I trimmed that one down in the toolbox in the shop on both sides, and then I cut on the standards. I cut the 1-inch one off, and then I think I cut it down to 5/16, which I think is this one. That might be 3/8. You can't even read the numbers on them anymore. And I was able to slide them down and then install these holders that goes across this way and put them both side by side to basically free up this center section here all the way through. And it's been working out okay. It's been annoying because I end up running into needing this 1-inch sometimes. That's really the only annoying part about it. But since I went with the magnetics on the side for the long ratchet and the extensions and stuff, it kind of defeated the purpose of doing that, because the main reason I was doing that was to be able to put this extension inside and have it sit all the way down. And since I'm putting it out here on the outside now, I decided to go ahead and leave this one alone. I could still switch it to that setup if I wanted to, but at this point I don't see the need to do that. Because basically these holders are the same length as these holders, and they're using the VIM mag rails in there also. So I can do that. I could switch it over to that one if I cut these down, but I decided to go ahead and leave it this way since everything fits in the middle fine. I just didn't see the reason to trim those down. And it is nice to have that socket, though. You can see I don't use the deep well very often since I don't even have one in here. But that's a quick overview of the tool tote and the updates that I've done on it so far. If you don't have a tool tote like this, I highly recommend it. It works really good. It actually works really good in the shop too. I was able to fit it in my top drawer of my toolbox. I can run out of it in my top drawer of my box, but I tend to lift it out and put it on top of my box. It's a little better access for the accessories on the side. But I do a lot of work under truck or out in the field in particular, even if it's not under the truck. It's an easy grab. I can put it on a cart, go right to the job and get busy. Thank you for watching. Please comment down below. And as always, have a great day.